Somewhere on Earth right now, a machine is quietly draining a desert that took 10,000 years to fill. And somewhere else, 3,000 miles south, an ocean current the size of 100 rivers is doing something no other force on the planet can do. It is holding an entire continent frozen in place. These two places have never met. One is scorched. One is buried under ice a mile thick. But 30 million years ago, they were the same place. Same soil, same forests. Possibly the same footprints, left by the last wandering giants of the dinosaur age. What tore them apart didn't just redraw a map. It built the ice caps. It rerouted the oceans. It quietly set the thermostat for the entire modern world. This is the story of that fracture and the price we're paying, right now, at the other end of it. Begin in northern Chile, in a basin so dry that NASA tests Mars rovers here, because nothing, not a blade of grass, not a visible drop of water breaks the illusion that you've left Earth entirely. This is the Atacama Desert, and beneath its cracked, salt-white surface sits one of the largest reserves of lithium on the planet. Lithium doesn't look like much. It's a soft, dull, silvery metal that starts reacting the second it touches open air. But it is the quiet engine of the modern world. It's inside the phone in your pocket right now. It's inside the batteries of tens of millions of electric cars, all racing toward the same promise, a cleaner future, powered by something better than oil. To get it, companies drill down into the desert floor and pump up ancient brine salt water that has sat sealed underground for tens of thousands of years and spread it across shallow ponds the size of small towns. Then they wait. The desert sun does the rest, evaporating the water month after month until only concentrated lithium salts remain. It sounds almost elegant. It isn't harmless, because that brine isn't just salt water sitting idle. It's the circulatory system of an ecosystem that moves on a completely different clock than we do. Flamingos that nest nowhere else on the continent depend on these shallow lagoons to survive. Ancient microbial colonies, some of the oldest living things on Earth, cling to existence in these pools, exactly as they have for millennia. And the underground water being pumped, evaporated, and shipped overseas as battery-grade salt took thousands of years to accumulate. On any time scale that matters to us, it is not coming back. This is the paradox, sitting quietly at the center of the clean energy story. The very effort to power a greener future is hollowing out one of the oldest, driest, most fragile landscapes left on Earth. A trade being made with the planet, in real time, without anyone fully agreeing to the terms. But if the Atacama shows us how fragile the present can be, the real story is buried further back, not centuries, not thousands of years, but tens of millions of years, in the deep archive of the planet itself. Because this desert sits at the edge of a much larger story. It sits at the edge of a continent that used to be connected to somewhere else entirely. Rewind 50 million years. Erase the ice completely. Antarctica, the frozen continent we picture, wrapped in a mile of solid white, was once green, warm, covered in temperate forest, cut through with rivers, home to early mammals and the last surviving descendants of the dinosaur age. And along its northern edge, land didn't stop at an ocean. It simply continued, unbroken, into the southern tip of what is now South America. A single connected landmass, a living corridor between two worlds. Then, around 30 million years ago, the ground itself decided otherwise. Deep beneath the crust, tectonic plates, the slow-moving pieces that make up Earth's outer shell, began pulling apart. Not violently, not overnight. With the terrifying patience of geology, centimeters a year, invisible to any living creature, and utterly unstoppable across deep time. South America and Antarctica were tearing away from each other. Where solid ground had once joined them, a gap slowly opened. The ocean rushed in to fill it. And what emerged was a strait so narrow, so exposed to unbroken wind circling the entire planet, that sailors would one day speak its name with something close to dread: the Drake Passage. To this day, it remains one of the most feared stretches of open water on Earth, a corridor with no landmass to break the wind, where swells can rise taller than a 4-story building, seemingly out of nowhere. Sailors call the worst of it the Drake Shake: violent, sudden, and gone almost as fast as it arrives. But this was never really about dangerous water. It was about what that gap made possible. The moment South America and Antarctica separated, the ocean did something it had never been able to do before. It could now flow in a complete, unbroken circle around the entire southern pole. No landmass stood in its way anymore. This new current has a name: the Antarctic Circumpolar Current. It's the largest current on the planet, moving more water than every river on Earth combined, many times over. And once it began spinning, uninterrupted, around Antarctica, it changed everything downstream of it. It sealed the continent off from the warmer waters that used to drift in from the equator. Antarctica, once nourished by warmth from the north, was suddenly locked in its own cold loop. Temperatures collapsed. The forests that had thrived for millions of years began to die. Snow that once melted every spring started, for the first time, to stay. Layer by layer, year after year, that snow compacted into ice, and the ice never stopped growing. The breakup of two continents didn't just redraw a coastline. It built the ice sheet that now holds most of the planet's fresh water. It created the reflective white shield that bounces sunlight back into space and helps keep global temperatures in check. It generated ocean currents that still shape weather patterns on every coastline on Earth, including, quietly, the desert we started with. Two landmasses pulling apart, one narrow gap of open water, and the entire climate of the modern world reorganized itself around it. So here is the strange, quiet thread connecting a desert in Chile to the bottom of the world. The Earth's crust isn't scenery, it's machinery. Every plate that drifts, every current that circles the globe, every ancient reservoir of water sealed beneath a salt flat, none of it is background to human history. It's the operating system underneath it. We mine the Atacama for the metal our future runs on, often without pausing to ask what balance we're disturbing to get it. We study the ice at the bottom of the world without always remembering that the ice itself is the product of a breakup that took 30 million years to finish. The planet doesn't move on our schedule. It moves in centimeters per year, in currents the size of oceans, in reservoirs that took 10,000 years to fill and can be drained in a single decade. And maybe that's the real discovery in all of this. Not the lithium, not the ice, not even the Drake Passage itself, but the reminder that everything solid beneath our feet has always, quietly, been in motion. The ground has never stopped moving. We're simply the first species paying close enough attention to notice.